Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're regular here, you know I review many photographic, audio and video related products. And if you're new here, well, that's exactly what I do. Now recently I purchased a lens for my Nikon Z5 and that's what we're looking at today. And the lens that I purchased is the Nikon Z 75 constant f2.8 aperture lens, and it is a great lens, and I purchased it for my Z5 to use constantly on my Z5. I was looking for basically a travel lens I could leave on the camera body and it would cover, you know, quite a good range actually. So it's not ultra wide and it's only just about wide, so it's wide to short telephoto stroke portrait end, and you can do portraits with this lens purely because it has got that constant f2.8 aperture. Now we'll go through some of the images on the computer here, but what I would highly recommend, rather than study them on my YouTube channel when I go through them, is to have a look at them on my Flickr site. I will put them on my Flickr site and then you can have a look at them there, you can study them, and you can see them much better on Flickr than what you will do on YouTube. And I've taken a variety of images at different apertures as well. I think the main images I've taken have been at f2.8 because I wanted to see how good this lens is at its widest aperture, because that's the most challenging aperture and that's where most lenses in this sort of price range will suffer the most at its widest aperture. I have actually found this to be a great lens, even at its widest f2.8 aperture. It isn't an S lens, so in theory, you're not going to get the same image quality as you would from one of their S-class lenses. This is just a standard Z mount lens, but I found the image quality to be great, and it works great on my Z5. Now the Z5 is a 24 megapixel sensor. How well it would work on, say, the Z7 or the Z7 II, because that's a 45 megapixel sensor, I couldn't say. But I've actually zoomed in close on these images and they look fine even when they're blown up at 100%. So I suspect it'll work great on the Z7 and the Z7 Mark II as well as on the Z5. Now the only thing I did find, this lens is slightly heavier than I imagined it to be. I know I looked at the weights when you look at it online, but I'm not very good at weights and measures, and it is a little heavier than I imagined it to be. It actually weighs in at 600, it's saying there 603 grams, so around 600 grams. So it's a little bit heavier, but it's nicely balanced on the Z5. So that is one really nice thing. I like the weight of that on the Z5. It's nicely balanced, and when you look at them two together, then that does get quite weighty. That's almost 1.3 kilograms. So that can get quite weighty after a long period of time. Now I've been out with this for about 3 or 4 hours, 5 hours. I had no problem with it. It isn't the most discreet combination. You can see there, that's quite a big combination, and when obviously it zooms out, so it does trombone when you zoom through the range, which is, that's fine. Most lenses do that, but it isn't the most discreet, particularly if you're doing street photography or anything like that. I don't really do anything like that, so it doesn't particularly bother me. Although I did go out into the town, I'll show you some of the images here. I didn't notice people staring at me, even though it is quite a big camera with quite a big lens. Now the lens does come with a lens hood. It's only a plastic lens hood, nothing exciting about that, but at least it does come with it. I know with a lot of the Canon lenses, they don't come with lens hoods, but it does come with that. You've got a very efficient zoom ring. It's nicely labelled, it's smooth, it doesn't stick, so that's really good. And it's got here a focus stroke control ring. Now that's quite interesting actually. Quite a few manufacturers are starting to do this. Canon are doing it with their RF lenses, and now Nikon are doing it. Now this is great because this can either be set for manual focus, or you can set it as a control ring for either exposure compensation, aperture, ISO, pretty much most things like that. I've actually got it set to ISO, so when I've got it up to the viewfinder, even looking at the back of the screen, I can very quickly adjust my ISO if I need to. I usually leave it set on auto, but if I do need to adjust it manually, I can very quickly do it just by turning the ring, and that's really good. And the only thing I would say about that, because it is either control ring or manual focus, if you do decide you want to use it for manual focus, you have to go into the camera to set it back to manual focus to be able to do manual focusing with that particular ring. So not a big deal, because I don't do manual focusing, but well, I don't do a lot of manual focusing, but it's worth noting that it's either or. So it's either a control ring or it's a manual focus ring. But yeah, beautifully made. Now, again, I've heard some people online say it's made by Tamron. I have no idea if it's made by Tamron or if it isn't. But even if it is, the image quality is great, because it would be made to Nikon's specification. I don't know if it is or if it isn't, but I can only go by what I see with the images, and the images are great, both at the 28mm end and at the 75. So it's quite an interesting lens, because most of them are like 24 to 70. So with this one, you're losing 4mm at its widest, but you're gaining 5mm at the telephoto end. And the telephoto end is great to gain that 5mm, because it comes very close to a good quality portrait lens. So you can use it for portraits. The out of focus area looks nice. Again, I'll show you that. So the bokeh's nice. It's not going to win any awards, but it isn't like bad. It's not obnoxious. It's quite a clean bokeh out of focus, and it's great for separation. So it will separate the subject from the background, and that's why another reason why I wanted an f2.8 lens, because I want to be able to use it in the studio here, and I want to be able to use it as my close-up camera. So I've got at the moment my Canon RP, which is a full frame body with a Canon RF 50mm lens fitted to it, and that's quite nice because I've got it set to f1.8, and you can see it is separating me from the background. Now this should be fairly similar, although it's f2.8, it should still give me enough separation from me to the background, and I do like to be able to do that. It's a professional way of actually filming, particularly if you're doing portraits, you're doing interviews, so you could use this lens for filming interviews without any problem whatsoever. So I did just mention that using the 28 to 75 on my Z5 in the studio would be great, because I could use it as a close-up camera and not use my Canon RP, or I could use either or. Now I've just swapped out the Canon RP. I've actually got the RP here. This is what I was using for that review of the 28 to 75. And I've got fitted to it my 50mm lens, and I've got a grip just so that the batteries don't run out. And I've now swapped it out and put my Z5 on with the 28 to 75 set at f2.8. So I think you'll agree there is still that lovely separation between me and the background, because it's got an f2.8 aperture. So it's a great lens here in the studio. And because it is a zoom lens, obviously I can adjust how I would like it to be. I can either have it set wide like that, which I don't like that, it's pointless because I've got a wide camera set up over there, which is my Panasonic GH5. So, I can tighten that up probably to about there. And that gives me, a nice, rather than be too tight, but that gives me a nice image, and I really do like that. So yeah, I'll be using the Nikon Z5 with a 28 to 75 lens here in the studio, because it looks good, and the feature set is really nice on this lens as well, and the camera is great to use here in the studio. It is a great video camera, even though it has only got the 30-minute record limit. I still love using it as a video camera. So there we go, that's the Nikon 28 to 75 f2.8, using it as a video, using it for video in the studio here. So it is a good quality, high quality, general purpose lens. And as I say, I'm going to keep it on my camera body. Hopefully I won't need to change it unless I'm doing wildlife or sports, which I don't do. You would want longer telephoto lenses. So what we'll do now, we'll take a quick look at them on the computer, and you can see what they look like. I would strongly suggest you look at them on Flickr rather than looking at them here. But if we have a quick spin through these, now I'm not going to go in any particular order. You can see there that one was taken at 71mm f2.8, and lovely colours, lovely sharpness, and it is really nice and sharp. I mean, that is absolutely superb. Let's just go through these, and I'm just zooming in them so you can see at 100% how sharp these images really are. They're really, really nice images. plenty of detail, plenty of contrast. It's a nice contrasty lens. It's a really, really nice lens. So its minimum focus distance is great with this lens. Now, 24mm is 19 centimeters, and at its telephoto end, 75mm is 39 centimeters. So that's pretty close for a lens of this nature, a lens of this style. So if you do want to get close-up shots, you'll be able to do it quite easily on this lens, although it isn't a macro lens. It's not designed as a macro lens, but I mean, look at these. Look at the definition on that. It's absolutely superb. Colours jump out the screen. Very vivid, beautifully vivid colours. Nikon are renowned for vivid colours and great colour rendition anyway. But the sharpness and clarity of this lens, nobody's going to have any issues with the clarity that this lens produces. I'm absolutely blown away by it. I love it. The animal eye detect works great. The focus is great. That's a nice shot actually, little Sammy. But let's go through, spin through these. You know, even architecture. Lines are great. There's no distortion. Vignette, I can't say the word. There's no vignetting. I can't say that word. You know, it's just superb. As you can see here, that I've actually replaced the sky with another sky. Now I've done that in a piece of software called Luminar NEO. Now Luminar NEO is a great bit of software, it's great value for money, and it's awesome. Now I use it in conjunction with Lightroom, and I would strongly suggest you download a trial version. I put a link to my website where you can download a trial version, and if you do decide you want to buy it, use my code AVP to get $10 off when you purchase it. And it's a really great bit of software. It does all your editing as well, so it'll do your highlights, your shadow detail and everything. Oh, loads of things that it does. But I'll give you a quick example, and it will be a quick example. So if we edit this one in Luminar NEO, just for the fun of it, and we'll replace the sky in NEO, just so you see how easy it is to do and why I like doing it, because obviously quite often when you're doing landscapes you do get boring skies, and it's great to be able to put a new sky in. So that's now loaded in NEO. We go into edit, so just edit that. You go to the sky section here, go into sky, let's put in something dramatic. Well, more dramatic than what that is. Let's just drop that in. It'll take a few seconds. It'll take a little bit longer than normal because I've got a piece of software recording the screen, so that's running in the background while it's trying to do it. So there we go. Now let's put a new sky in. Now we can go to enhance, and we can actually enhance that. So bring up bring it into a bit of punch. Enhance the sky. Click on apply. Now obviously you would spend a bit more time, quite a bit more time, you know, getting it exactly how you want it, but that's just a quick demo of how easy it is to use Luminar NEO. As I use it in conjunction with Lightroom. That's now taken it straight back into Lightroom, and there you go. There's the original, and there's a new sky. Now some people like this, some people don't. I've had people, you know, criticize my images by saying it looks false, they look too highly processed. Well, that's fine. I like a nice highly processed picture. It's how I like it, so that's why I do it. It doesn't have to appeal to everyone, but if you do like that sort of thing, then, you know, take a look at the Luminar NEO, download the trial version off my website. Don't cost you anything, so there's no harm in trying it, is there? But yeah, getting back to this lens, again, great, you know, I can just keep saying it, it's really just great images. It's just really nice and sharp. Whether you're shooting at f2.8, whether you're shooting at f4, out of idle curiosity, what's that one? That one is, that's f4, that one's shot at, and that's at 28, so that's at its widest end, 28mm at f4. So I have closed the aperture down one stop to f4, and you've got lovely clarity, you know. It's great. So here we go, there's a sky replaced in that shot. So yeah, really nice lens, really nice sharp images, and it's a great all-round lens. So you know, I can highly recommend it as a great all-round lens. Not the lightest of lenses, but to have a constant f2.8 aperture, I think it's actually quite a light lens, the fact that it has got that constant f2.8 aperture. And at 600 grams, it's not, you know, horrendous. And it's certainly manageable to carry that around, particularly because the Z5, the Z6, the Z7 have got great handling and they've got great grips. So there we go, that's just what I think about the Nikon f2.8 28 to 75. I'd be interested to see what your thoughts are, whether you own it, whether it's something you'd be interested in buying. Yeah, great product. So there we go. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my channel. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit the like button if you did like the content of this video. That would be fantastic. That really helps me grow the channel. Really appreciate that. So thanks very much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos relating to video photography, podcasting, so on and so forth. Cheers for now. Bye.